All right, so you're looking at tournaments, trying to figure out which one you should go to, what you should choose, how to decide on which tournament to go to. So in this video, I'm going to be comparing IBJJF tournaments to AGF tournaments. I've competed in both, and so I'm going to give you a little bit of my thoughts on each one, some of the differences, and then hopefully that can help you decide on which tournament you should go with, or if you should do both, or whatever else you're looking at doing, right? I'm Jacoby Kendrick, the BJJ Realtor, and if this is your first time to my channel, I just want to just let you know to like and subscribe, hit the thumbs up, hit the bell if you're getting anything from these videos. All right, so first of all, let's start out with you're going to be competing in a jiu-jitsu tournament. All right, so whenever you start out, you always look at these tournaments trying to figure out which one is the best or which one you should go to. Normally, your academy is going to have tournaments that they usually are involved with, right? So the first thing I would tell you to do is just talk to your professor or to your sensei and figure out what tournament they think is best for you. But if you don't have that luxury, I'm just going to kind of go down how I feel about both sets of tournaments. So AGF stands for American Grappling Federation, and then IBJJF stands for International Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Federation, right? And so the thing I would say about both, because I've competed in both, is that there are kind of tiers to tournaments, and I would say IBJJF for the layman, for the amateur athlete, IBJJF is going to be your top tier tournament out there, right? So there's a lot of they have a ton of tournaments. Really, the way they're structured is you have opens, which are the lower tier tournaments, and then I've only competed in North America, so there are other tournaments you have, which could be international masters. North America, we have Master Worlds. You have the Pan American Championships, and then there are a few others that are basically there's a point tier structure to each one. So each tournament that you have, if you win that tournament, you get more points for winning that tournament. So for instance, Worlds, Master Worlds, Nogi Worlds, that is the absolute top tournament that you can win for IBJJF, and that is weighted the most. Now in AGF, they have opens as well, and they also have a national, I believe it's a national tournament. National or world, I don't believe AGF has a world tournament, but they have a national tournament as well. But what I'm going to break down is just kind of the structure of each one, so you can know the differences, and then that way you'll know. Now each federation or each competition, and I'm also only going to speak to adult and above. I'm not going to speak to kids divisions. So I've got a few notes here. First of all is age, right? So normally the things you look at whenever you're going to be competing are going to be age, belt, and then age, rank, and weight. Age, weight, and rank are the things you're going to be looking at, right? And they're pretty similar across the board, right? And so with AGF, you've got adult, which is going to be 18. And then you have masters, which is going to be 30 plus. You have seniors, which is 40 plus. And then you have executives, which I believe is 50 plus, 50 or 60 plus. All right, so you've got adults, masters, seniors, and executives. All right, now you can always compete down in a level, but you can't compete up. So for instance, if you are a master, you can compete as an adult. And so for IBJJF, the way they have their ages categorized out is you have adult, and then they go from master 1 all the way through master 7. So you have adult, master 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And the way that that IBJJF does it, it does it according to your birth year. And so for master 1 is going to be between 30 years old and basically 35 years old. I think it's 30 to 34. And then when you're 35 to 39, I believe, see, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. Yeah, 35 to 39, then you are Master 2, right? So that's kind of how that works. So the ages are pretty similar um, in that regard. And then next are the belts. So the belts are pretty standard: white, blue, purple, brown, and black. And then you also have your weight divisions. The weight divisions are pretty similar as well. They do differ a little bit. I'm a super heavyweight. And so I believe for AGF, I think super heavyweight is like 231. And then for IBJJF, it is 222, I believe. I'll have to go back and check exactly, but they're pretty close, you know. And then for ultra heavy, it's 231 and above. And then for obviously for IBJJF, it is 222 and above. And then the other thing I didn't mention, so on the weight class, or on the age classes, there are different times for each bracket that you're in. So in AGF, you have time periods of 5 minutes and 6 minutes. So for 5 minutes, it's for white and blue belts. And then if you are purple, brown, or black, the matches are 6 minutes long. But for IBJJF, for adults, the time periods are: for white belt, it's 5 minutes; blue belt, it's 6 minutes; purple belt, it's 7 minutes; brown belt, it's 8 minutes; and then for black belt adults, the matches are 10 minutes long. Okay, so the time periods are a little bit different when it comes to each federation, right? That's probably the biggest significance, or the biggest difference between the two, is whenever you are competing at adult, the time periods are pretty different. So at black belt in AGF, you're only going to have a 6-minute match, but at black belt in IBJJF, you're going to have a 10-minute match. 10-minute match and a 6-minute match, that is significant difference there, right? And so, but for Master 1, purple, brown, and black, you have a 6-minute match. But everything else for Masters 2 and above, is actually 5 minutes, right? So it's kind of the thing there. They do have open classes. So in IBJJF, they have open classes. In AGF, they have what they call a challenger class. And they actually have 2 challenger classes, which can be good for AGF, especially if you are wanting to, go against people who aren't necessarily your weight. A lot of times lower weight belts, like featherweights, or I can't think of rooster weights. They are going to be a lot of times they don't enter an open class, and the reason why is because if you're a rooster, you don't want to fight an ultra heavy, right? But in AGF, they actually have a slash. They kind of slash it in the middle, so they have up to a certain weight. And then the other challenger class that they have is like all open weights, right? So that actually gives kind of the smaller guys an opportunity to do like a pseudo open class, which is actually kind of cool. I think it's really, really cool, right? So that's one of the advantages of actually doing AGF, is you can do the challenger class and do a semi-open class, or actually do an open class where you do the challenger, where it's all weights totally, right? And then the other big difference I would say too, each of them, there's gonna be like a 2-fight minimum pretty much if you have 2 people in your division for IBJJF, so you will actually go against each guy once. And then in AGF, they actually have a 2-fight minimum no matter what. The other thing with AGF is if there are not enough people in your bracket, what they will do is they'll try to match people, according to their experience level. And so let's say, there's a heavyweight and a super heavy. As long as the weights are pretty close, they will still like combine divisions, which for some people that's a good thing, and for some it could be a bad thing, So that is one of the risks that you take when you do AGF, but it's also good because you know that you're actually going to get a match. A lot of times you can go to an IBJJF event and actually not even get a match. You could be the only person that signs up for your division, But you could also do the open class as well if you don't, if you don't have anyone in your division. You'll know that beforehand because you'll get to check out the brackets, but um, sometimes you might not have anybody in your division. Now, the other thing I would say is there are in the opens for IBJJF, there aren't as many people at the opens. Well, it depends on what city you're at. An open in LA obviously would be huge. An open in Dallas, Texas is big. Now, the opens in Houston, Texas are they're huge. I mean, it's like a multiple day event, right? And then you have the opens, I'm in Texas, so we do Austin, and Austin is like a 1 day event. It's like really, really small. They usually have it on a Sunday. And so, those events are smaller. So in IBJJF, it kind of depends on the location of the event on how big it's going to be. AGF as well. From my experience, the AGF tournaments are a lot smaller than IBJJF tournaments. If you go to a Worlds tournament or a Pan American tournament in IBJJF, it's going to be massive. Multiple days, could often be up to a week to get everybody through, right? So it's going to be a really, really big event. And so those are kind of the differences between the two. I wouldn't say one is better than the other. I will say one is probably more prestigious than the other. If you're in the jiu-jitsu community, if you say, I won, nationals at AGF versus I won American nationals at IBJJF, you're going to get different looks depending on, which tournament that you've won, especially as an amateur. Master Worlds is going to be the best tournament that you could win as an amateur, is what I would say, gi and no gi. So let me know what your thoughts are. Do you agree with that? Do you not agree with it? Do you have other questions? If you do, go ahead and put the questions in the comments, and I will get your questions answered and get back with you. All right, talk to you guys later. Oops.